Welcome to the Second Chance Show. Today we have Anna, one of the successful people in the Second Chance. She's been with us for a year. Anna, I want to ask, first of all, what was the biggest win? It seems to me that now you told me that you're ready you feel confident that you can actually do this on your own. You got to where you needed to be. And now it's all about maintaining, okay? What was your biggest win in terms of, I remember when I met you the first time on the seminar, I asked you, you told me I really wanted to build my best version of myself and, I wanted to be confident again. So I want you to speak a little bit about what were some of the things you were experiencing when you came in versus today, and again, the biggest win that you have from this program so far.
Yeah, so I think when I decided to kind of like sign up and find out about the program, I was feeling very I was lacking in self-confidence from like my body and just how I was feeling emotionally. I was very like lacking in confidence, and that was one thing I think I wanted to get back, but I didn't really realize it at the time, because at the time I just thought, oh, I want to lose weight and I want to get sort of healthy again. But then I wanted sort of like, I realized quite soon in that it was more about becoming more confident. And I think that that's really been the biggest win. So although I'm really happy that I've lost all of the weight and I'm able to kind of maintain that, and through all the exercise and sort of managing eating more healthily, I think the main thing is I've just got so much more energy and confidence in myself again, which is the biggest win for me, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How does that play out on a day-to-day life, right now? Like, is it something that, compared to how you came in, maybe being unsecured around, relationships, or maybe like you got a important job, a lot of people tend to experience insecurity or maybe too much awareness on their body when they present, compared to today, when now you're able, everybody sees your picture, like it's almost stunning, the difference. Now you're able to wear whatever you want, probably with pride. How does that play out on a day-to-day life, as you have also an important...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that does really, because it was, from a home perspective, it was fine, but working full time and presenting and always being in front of people, I know I felt aware that I had put on weight and that I was overweight, and I could kind of like, you do feel a little bit lacking in confidence when you've got to stand up in front of a group of people, because even though they're probably not judging you, you feel like they are probably judging you and looking at you. And I think that people have noticed the one thing. Yes, some of them have said, oh, we've noticed you've lost a lot of weight, which is nice when people comment on that. But also people have said, oh, you seem happier. They're like, oh, you're smiling all the time. And I think that's the sort of thing you don't realise, that perhaps I wasn't quite as cheerful as I am now, because I feel a lot more, I feel good within myself, a lot more healthy and things. So that's, I think, a really nice side effect, is that people have said, oh, you seem happier than you were before. So that was good. That's been really good.
Yeah. What were some of the main challenges to actually get there? Because I was told, I didn't hold back anything on the group when I said Hannah, she's always an excellent example of somebody that doesn't matter how, you get it done. Like you were traveling several times. You always look for to know your surroundings. You took those modules for traveling, and you really like use the material, and you really say, I'm going to apply it. You take hotels, gym. I know that you did a lot of changes with food. What were some of now we're not talking so much about the trigger, but mostly about the challenges physically, like maybe logistically as well. What were some of the main challenges before that and how did you, in your particular situation, fix it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest challenge, like you say, would have been how could I fit it in regularly? Because when I started it, I knew I had a few weeks to get into the program, and I did it at home at first. So the biggest challenge was how am I going to sort of manage to do this when I travel? Because sometimes you're on an airplane for hours, or you're traveling for a long time, and so and not always having that access to the food you want to eat and things like that. But I think just the planning, so it was a challenge, but you just have to kind of think ahead all the time, like check before I traveled, does the hotel have a gym? If it didn't, make sure that I could get like Wi-Fi access and then go onto the modules. And I did the modules in my hotel room, so sometimes if there was no gym, or if the gym wasn't open, I just would do the burn videos in the hotel room. So I don't know if people heard me in other rooms in the hotel, but I was like jumping around and doing the exercises in the room. So I kind of overcame it, but I just had to forward plan and make sure I took gym wear, and if I couldn't do that, maybe just go for a run or something like that. So make sure that I kept the exercise regular.
Excellent. The next question is really about consistency. How did you manage? Because we see this all the time. Your results are not by chance; they're not random. I don't believe anybody's results are. But like some people has, an easier way getting it done. But then like it always comes out to consistency, right? Like we find something that works in this program. We have a peer support of the group, but then like it's really you that you decide to say, I can do it versus I can't do it. And I can do it and I will do it all the time. Not necessarily, like you can still do some imperfect days, but it's still most of the time. So how did you manage for a full year of consistency that obviously created the results that you produced?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was really kind of like you do have to be disciplined with yourself and recognize that sometimes you're feeling a bit lazy. And I think when we did the chimp paradox, when we went to the workshop, that really helped me to kind of understand a bit more about how your mind can kind of like make you do things or not do things. And so I think that was that was kind of like the way to consistency is you do have to be honest with yourself and disciplined with yourself. And so and in terms of things like food and what I eat, I do track everything now. I do track the calorie intake. I check what I'm eating, and there are days when yeah, I really want to eat that, and you have to either say no, I'm not going to, or if I do, I realize I need to pay back that in doing more exercise the following day or the same day. But being honest and not trying to kind of like pretend you haven't eaten it or pretend you haven't had a day where you've been a bit lazy and not exercise helps you to keep consistent, and really trying to sort of like find a right balance between sort of still enjoying your life, but realizing that if you do decide not to do something for a few days, there'll be consequences. And I think that helps you stay consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. And that does really much. This is probably what most people experience, especially when they have, women watching on with, eating disorder or like binge eating or more kind of almost like a dependency towards food or bad behaviors, whether it's for logistics or because it's induced. Once you kind of like take off that barrier, then you know exactly that the same thing you do is the same thing that they have to do. Then it's really about keeping that hope no matter what. And again, it is a choice. It's an identity you building it, and the hard part always is really taking the current identity you have and twisting it into that person that you must become. You've done that very well. One of the biggest objection we still have, even if it's getting much better, it's really about the online thing. It's like, people don't necessarily, and not all of them, they're, even though like now that they believe it a lot more, people think that, and instead, unless you have somebody to, kind of like training you for real, that wouldn't necessarily be effective, right? What was your experience like compared to maybe what was your thoughts coming in?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to give it a go because part of my job, I think, is also thinking about how you can use technology and how you can use online programs. And so there was an interest from my part to see how that would work, but also for somebody like, as I say, I work full time. I'm traveling a lot, different countries. So for me, really, the only way to kind of have a regular contact was to do it online.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was perfect because I think that's the best way to be able to constantly talk, and the community, the chats we had on Facebook, and then being able to have calls with you or just, like this kind of like face to face, really. For me, it was the only way I felt I would be able to fit it into my life and make it work. So that was good for me, I think, really good.
Absolutely.
the seminar was great because it was nice to actually meet people in person, because it's always nice to meet people in person.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the whole program, watching the videos, training to those at home when I was doing that, that really worked for me, because I could do them wherever, at whatever time of day or night. So it was great.
Yeah, it's almost like you keep yourself accountable. It's like saying you have deadlines, like in the work. As long as you get those done, still there is this idea that if you do not eat in a specific hours, or if you don't work out specific hours, that's a problem. Like that's kind of like in the micro level. Like if you are a super advanced athlete, that could be different, but otherwise, for most of that general population, that wouldn't be necessarily the problem. The last question is, or last statement is like, people on the fence, like how somebody, a traveler, maybe a mom, like you sees your your video, they kind of like reflecting your experience, but they're on the fence, they're not necessarily ready to take action. How do you kind of like externally motivating them to say, yeah, this is kind of like probably the thing you want to be doing? What would you say to them if they were you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say make the jump, do it, because it will change your life, and you have to be committed. You have to make that decision. But I would say make the jump, because, and thanks to you and your encouragement and support, I mean, it has really, it hasn't changed my life in that I don't earn more money, I don't live in anywhere different, but it's changed my life in how I feel on the inside. So I would say to them, you can find the time, you can do it. So do it. Yeah, just do it.
I'm proud of you. I'm really proud of what you produce. Like, visual results, everybody will see it, but then it's not about the visual results. When you say, I am confident, people give me the compliment now, they tell me I'm smiling more. That's real. That's real stuff. That's real people. A lot of people, we've been having this compliment, people signing up now without and say, I sign up because I see that real people does it. And it's not just about a picture, it's about what they feel. And it's long lasting. I mean, like now it's real, right? It's like it's been a year, and you've been consistently having results, never stopping that, like even 1 week. And now you're ready to actually maintain it, and you know exactly what it takes to maintain it. So that's It is possible to change your life around if you want. You must, of course, it must be clear that you must work hard. Like nothing is given. It's really about, there is no quick fixes. It's about doing those boring, repetitive things that people need to do all the time. They know what they need to do, but they don't do. Simple as that. Hannah, thank you so much for your contribution to this, and especially for this testimonial. This way, obviously, maybe somebody else will be impacted from your story. Thanks again, and obviously wish you all the best for your future. You're graduated from this place, then you probably can start impacting other people. Maybe in your life as well. Thank you so much.
Well, I tell people about it all the time. I tell people about the program and how good it was and how it's worked. So I'm always telling people about it. So.
Really proud of you. Thank you so much again for the testimonial, and we wish you an amazing night. Thank you.
Thank you.